Alright, we are live, ladies and germs, and this is not going to be the super positive video that I was hoping this was going to be. Because, quite frankly, the race that I saw last night was a horrible disappointment. We're going to be getting into all that, so let's do this. This is the fuel. What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packer Man, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Fuel, where we're going to be talking about what happened in the race last night, the 2022 Fast Pro Shops night race at Bristol. A race that, over the past 5-6 years, has consistently... Cat, get the fuck out of the way! A race that has been consistently one of the best races, a race of the year contender for the last 5 to 6 years straight, including last year. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to be the case this year. I'll tell you that much. But before I go into my whole spew, because I'm going to have a lot of shit to say, let's get to the news of the week, because there was actually some pretty big news that came out this week. Alright, so we're going to start, as we usually do, with the news of the week. I don't know why it looks like that. This new fucking look of OBS just throws me off. But anyways, we're going to start out like we usually do, the viewership. Kansas only pulled 1.878 million viewers on the USA Network, which was actually down 10.8% compared to last year at 2.105 million average viewers on NBCSN. Well, I mean, the race was boring as fuck, so I don't know what else you expect there. Some silly season news. Brandon Jones is going to be moving over from Joe Gibbs Racing to Junior Motorsports in 2023 to replace Noah Gragson, who's moving up to Cup next year and driving the number 42 car for Petty GMS. Now, a lot of fans are kind of wondering, why would they put Brandon Jones in the car? I mean, did you not watch the races this weekend? I mean, Brandon Jones is not exactly trash. I mean, some people might think, well, he's only bringing Brandon Jones in because he brings the paycheck. Well, yeah, obviously. For those that don't know, Brandon Jones has some pretty strong ties to Rheem and Menards, both big value sponsors. But, I mean, it's not like Brandon Jones is totally a garbage driver. I mean, he does have how many career wins does Brandon Jones have in the Xfinity Series? Let's see, Brandon Jones. He's only 25 years old. He has 5 Xfinity Series wins. His first win was at Kansas in 2019. And his most recent win was back at Martinsville earlier this year, the one where we saw Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer go at it after the race. But he has 5 career wins. I mean, that's not bad. It really isn't. And he's been pretty consistent this year, all things considered. So, I mean, he's good for a win or two, at the very least, and he's going to be a championship contender. I don't know if he solved that. Fucking cat. Did that get on the stream? Hold on, let me see if it got on the stream real quick. I just saw that live on the stream, on the playback. My orange cat tried to jump up here and he fucking fell. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, that was funny. But anyways, I mean, Brandon Jones, as I was saying, Brandon Jones, I mean, he's going to be good for a win or two, and he's competing for the championship this year. So, I mean, it's not as controversial as one might think. But of course, the big news of the weekend was Kyle Busch announcing that he's going to be joining Richard Childress Racing in 2023. Of course, this was a big rumor that had been going around, and it ended up being confirmed this past Tuesday. Much to the surprise of everyone, considering that, let's not forget, 11 years ago, these two got into a scuffle, I believe after Kansas, the Xfinity race at Kansas, I believe. So, he has been signed to Richard Childress Racing and will be driving the number 8 car. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what is that, going to leave Tyler Reddick at? Because obviously RCR picked up his option for next year. Well, apparently Richard Childress is going to try to get a third charter, so they're going to have a 3-car operation next year, and Tyler Reddick will be in that car because Kyle Busch is going to be driving the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing next year. And then in 2024, that's when Tyler Reddick will move over to 2311 Racing. So I have a funny suspicion that 2023 is going to be a lame duck year for Tyler Reddick, unfortunately. But needless to say, especially after the engine failure that Kyle Busch has suffered in 2 of the last 3 races, which has knocked him from the first round of the playoffs, which we'll get to in a minute, I would imagine 2023 is going to be his revenge tour, to say the least. He's going to be coming in with a chip on his shoulder. Toyota Racing and Joe Gibbs both released statements on his move over to RCR and coming back to Chevrolet. So, President of Toyota Racing Development, David Wilson, put this out on Toyota's, Toyota Racing's official Twitter on September the 13th. Toyota and TRD are privileged to have raced with Kyle Busch, one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. Well, he's not wrong there. While we certainly wish Kyle the best of luck in the future and congratulate him on his announcement to join Richard Childress Racing, we're disappointed and saddened that his future won't continue to be with Team Toyota. Kyle has been an ambassador for Toyota since joining the program in 2008. He's gone on to accumulate some of the most prestigious milestones possible for the Toyota brand, including our first Cup Series win for the Camry and first Cup Series championship. He will undoubtedly hold the record for the most wins in a Toyota across all 3 championship series for decades to come. But more than that, Kyle has been a friend, part of our family, and has played a key role in the development of many of our drivers through his ownership of Kyle Busch Motorsports, which is also switching over to Chevrolet. So a lot of the Kyle Busch Motorsports drivers, like Corey Heim and John Hunter Nemechek, they're exclusively to Toyota, so they're going to have to find new homes in all likelihood for next year. I would imagine John Hunter Nemechek might get a ride in Xfinity next year. Because with Brandon Jones leaving the 19 car to move over to Junior Motorsports, and Ty Gibbs is more than likely going to be slotted into the 18 Cup car for next year, that pretty much leaves no full-time drivers in Xfinity for Joe Gibbs Racing. So I would imagine they would probably move John Hunter Nemechek. They would probably hire John Hunter Nemechek to drive one of those two cars, and then perhaps Corey Heim, maybe somebody else to drive the other one full-time. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. We wish nothing but the best for Kyle and his entire family as he moves into the next chapter of his Hall of Fame career, and it is a Hall of Fame career. I mean, in the top 10 of most wins of all time. I mean, shit, two-time champion. He's won everything but the Daytona 500 at this point. I mean, shit. It's a Hall of Fame career. That's no question. We're thankful to have been along for the ride. And then a statement from Joe Gibbs. Kyle has been a major part of our history and success here at Joe Gibbs Racing. We're thankful for all his contributions to our organization over the years. When you look at all that he has accomplished already, it is truly remarkable, and we know someday we will be celebrating his Hall of Fame induction. We also know he still has many more achievements in our sport ahead of him, including competing for the championship this season, which is not going to happen now. We wish Kyle, Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox the very best. So that was the big news that came out of this weekend. And speaking of other news, silly season news, Kyle Larson will be staying with Hendrick through 2026. That deal was inked this week as well. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, he's the defending champion. And, I mean, yeah, he hasn't had as many wins this year as last year. I mean, he only has 2 wins this year, whereas last year he had 10. But the parity of this season has been absolutely insane. We'll get to that in a minute, and why I think the all-time record is about to be shattered here. But Kyle Larson has extended his contract with Hendrick Motorsports through 2026. So another 4 seasons, basically. The rest of this year, and then 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. I mean, it should be obvious why they signed him for that long. I mean, the defending series champion, and he's got a shot at maybe clinching back-to-back titles. He's still in the running, so shouldn't be that much of a surprise to see a contract extension for Kyle Larson. And then finally, the 2023 schedule was finally released. For the most part, it pretty much mirrors this year. The lineup for the playoff pretty much remains the same. I mean, it does remain the same. You have Darlington, Kansas, Bristol as the round of 16. Texas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval as the round of 12. Las Vegas, Miami, and Martinsville as the round of 8. And Phoenix once again hosting the championship. And the rest of the schedule is pretty much the same. Once again, only one off week during the season. But of course, obviously, the two big additions to the schedule for 2023 include, of course, the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro on May the 21st, which is a huge fucking deal. And, of course, the addition of the Chicago Street Race 4th of July weekend, replacing the outgoing Road America. Now, Road America will remain as a NASCAR stop for the Xfinity Series. Xfinity is going to have 8 road courses next year. Holy shit. And they're going to Sonoma for the first time as well next year, which is a surprise. And the Truck Series is going back to the Milwaukee Mile, and North Wilkesboro is going to be a points race for them. Yeah, so while a lot of this season or a lot of next season's schedule is pretty similar to this year, the addition of North Wilkesboro and the Chicago Street Race I think is pretty cool. But like I said before, I don't think the Chicago Street Race should have come at the expense of Road America. But that's just me. Sorry, I was checking outside. We're supposed to be, I guess, expecting thunderstorms later on tonight. I didn't know if they were actually arrived here. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the news of the week for this week. So now let's get into the review itself. And yeah. I don't know if you see this. I don't know what the hell that is. He's just flying around in a circle. I can actually see that on the camera. Which is pretty crazy. I mean, this is a 1080p camera, so there you go. But yeah, 155th edition of the Fuels is the review of the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol. Title of this video: a messy, horribly disappointing race. I'm going to be completely honest here. Part of me does not want to do this review because of just how horribly disappointing this race was. I'm going to preface this with one thing. I have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? I think very highly of the Bristol night race. Over the past 5 to 6 years, it has been without question one of the best races of the entire year. It's one of the races that I look forward to the entire season. And over the past 5 to 6 years, it has, you know, basically, in my eyes anyway, cemented its status as NASCAR's unofficial fourth crown jewel. I mean, let's be honest here. Indianapolis just isn't a crown jewel to me anymore. I mean, it's completely lost all of its luster ever since the fiasco of 2008. You all remember that, right? So, to me, the three crown jewels that we can officially say are NASCAR: the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Southern 500. We know those as the big NASCAR majors. But to me, and I think to a lot of drivers, fans, and teams, the Bristol night race has always been one of those great spectacles in the sport. And to me anyway, I consider it to be the unofficial fourth major of the Cup Series because there's just so much prestige in this race. In fact, when Junior coined the term "It's Bristol Baby" after he won his night race back in 2004, before that he said that it was one of the most important wins of his entire career. Yeah, think about that for a second. I mean, he probably ranks the night race victory up there with his Daytona 500 wins because he considers it one of the most important wins of his entire career. So, I mean, that should tell you something. So, I have, you know, a lot of respect and I think very highly of the Bristol night race. That being said, the 2022 edition of the Bass Pro Shops night race was a complete fucking train wreck. Like, I don't know what the fuck has happened here, but the next gen car is starting to be exposed here late in the season. Because let's be completely honest here. The past 2 months of racing have been mid as fuck. The only exception being Watkins Glen. But some people are just too fucking stupid to realize it. Because, you know, I saw the Gluck poll where, you know, Darlington got, you know, is the new #1 of the season with the most upvotes, and it's like, just no. Just fucking no. Kansas was boring as fuck. I mean, the first round of this playoff run has been absolutely fucking terrible. And I was hoping that Bristol would be the one to deliver the shining light in the darkness. And what did we end up getting? What did we end up getting? A complete fucking mess. I mean, how many fucking tire failures were there in this race? And people want to say, oh, well, it's camber issues. Shut the fuck up. Okay, when are you people going to fucking realize that Goodyear's tires suck a giant dick? It's like I've already said before, I am done defending Goodyear. I'm done with that shit. We need to start holding these companies accountable for this bullshit. The car is unsafe. That's been proven over the past month or so. And Bristol basically exposed this car for what it is. A piece of fucking shit. Yeah, tire failures all over the fucking place. Mechanical failures galore. I mean, how many fucking power steering issues did this race have? Chase Briscoe said that he lost power steering on lap fucking 4. Alex Bowman had power steering issues. The 2311 cars had power steering issues. The 19 had power steering issues. Kyle Busch had an engine failure. Like, what in the actual fuck? I mean, maybe Kevin Harvick was right about this car all along. It seems like my camera's freezing up at certain points. It's not one thing, it's another. Whatever. But, like, I'm just gonna be completely honest here. I'm done with this fucking season. I'm officially checked out. I mean, that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna, that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna review the rest of the races. I'm talking about in terms of excitement and looking forward to the rest of the season. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. The past 2 months have been fucking horrid in terms of the on-track product. Some people have been overrating these races to fucking shit because of, playoff implications and upset winners, and all that other fucking shit, without paying attention to what's actually happening on the fucking track. We had only 12 lead changes this entire race. Now, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but Racing Reference usually has also like the number of green flag passes that happened during the race. Apparently that information is not available this week for whatever reason. Because it's been available the rest of the fucking races, so why not Bristol all of a sudden? Like it was available for the fucking dirt race, so what in the actual fuck? Yeah, no loot data whatsoever. And it even says some data might be unavailable. Yeah, obviously. But yeah, only 12 lead changes the entire race. Only 2 were pure lead changes. Yes, I am jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm proving my fucking point here. I mean, you look at the fucking night race from last year. There were 23 overall lead changes. And I think like 13 of them were pure lead changes, if memory serves. Like, what in the actual fuck? Like, I know that passing at Bristol can be kind of difficult at times, but, I mean, it was taken to a whole nother fucking level with this race this year. I mean, and it's already been proven that this car fucking sucks in the short track races. There have been drivers saying, maybe we need to take, the rear diffuser off and maybe give these cars a little bit more horsepower. But NASCAR's like, nah, we're just going to keep it as is. And what did we get last night? Hardly any fucking passing whatsoever. Nobody could challenge the leader. And not only that, you could take 2 tires or no tires and basically be able to hold off the rest of the field. Nobody could pass the fucking leader whatsoever. I mean, Noah Gragson in the Xfinity race had 100 lap older tires than the guys who pitted behind them and were still able to hold every single one of them off and get the win. On a fucking short track? Are you kidding me? Sorry, that was my dryer. But yeah, Bristol was basically the last hope to get out of this funk, and I'm just ready for this season to be over. Honestly, I'm done. I'm just fucking done. I mean, the race was a fucking mess. More tire failures than I can care to count. More mechanical failures than I can care to count. Yeah, it was a race of attrition, but you know what? You know, people falling out of the race because of stupid mechanical problems does not enhance the quality of a race. In fact, it devalues it, in my opinion. You know, we don't want to be seeing 50 million fucking mechanical failures in a race. I mean, that's what the Coke 600 is for. That race is supposed to test the limits of driver and machine. But no, and what was my most anticipated race of the year, it ended up being a horrible fucking disappointment. I just... I have no hope for the rest of this season. You know, especially when you consider that the next fucking race we're going to is Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Oh, I'm looking forward to that fucking race. But anyways, yeah, this was a horrid fucking race by Bristol standards. I mean, considering how good the racing has been at Bristol over the last 5-6 years in this race, the Bristol night race. I mean, I've given this race either a 9 or a 10 in like 5 straight years. And then, I mean, I guess at some point, even the best races take a dump, but I really wanted this race to be good to get us out of this fucking funk we're in. And instead, ended up being the final fucking pile of diarrhea on top of a giant shit mountain that we already had from the first 2 races. This first round of the playoffs fucking sucked ass. Not to mention the fact that NASCAR was extremely inconsistent with their caution calls. I mean, late in the race, you had Brad Keselowski losing a fucking tire, not having the caution called. But then Christopher Bell loses a tire, but they throw the caution immediately. And he was still running top 5, despite the fact that he lost the tire, and was able to get to pit road, get it changed, and he was still running in the top 5, basically. Yeah. Let me take a look at my notes here. What else was there? Eric Almirola won the pole, which was a bit of a surprise. I mean, the first pure lead change happened on lap 36, and I thought, okay, well, we're going to get started here. No. We had tire issues. We had fucking power steering issues. Blaney lost the right front tire running up front. Keselowski won the first stage. Harrison Burton had more problems than I could even count. And I think he was involved in like 5 or 6 different incidents during this race. I mean, there was some decent racing at certain points, like battle for 10th between like 5 cars was alright. Then you had both of the 2311 cars with power steering issues. Eric Jones had multiple issues. Truex and Bowman had power steering issues. Hamlin running up front, lost to right front. There was a decent battle for third between Elliott, Briscoe, and Busch at one point near the end of stage 2, which Christopher Bell won. I'll tell you one damn thing. Christopher Bell has really come on here in the second half of this season. Especially when you look at, the F1 standings. I mean, he only has one win this year, but here in the playoff run, that 20 team has come alive. I mean, Christopher Bell is starting to live up to the high expectations that he set for himself in trucks and Xfinity. Like I said before, you don't want to sleep on Christopher Bell. I mean, the 20 team is starting to figure shit out. Like, this is the second week in a row that he scored 19 points in the first 2 stages. Either first or second in the first 2 stages, and then got a top 5 finish beyond that. So don't be sleeping on Christopher Bell at all. Several drivers locked in on points as we got to stage 3, which was Hamlin, Logano, Bowman, Byron, and then eventually Elliott and Chastain clinched spots. And then, of course, the big thing on lap 271 was when Kyle Busch suffers his engine failure, and he was below the cut line. Then the next caution, Suarez lost it out turn 4 and took out Stenhouse, Gilliland, and also took out both of the RCR cars, Reddick and Austin Dillon. So all those guys were below the cut line, and Austin Dillon ended up one of the guys that was eliminated. Is it really a fucking surprise? I told you he was a fucking waste of a playoff spot and he wouldn't make it past the first round. Call me a clairvoyant. But one of the most suspicious things during this whole deal was when Austin Hendrick was several points behind Kyle Busch at the cut line. Then it got to 1 point behind him, and then all of a sudden, Logano, who had a right front tire go flat, so he had some damage, all of a sudden, they decide to call him in to pit road to look at the damage, and they mysteriously retire the car, which gave Hendrick the necessary point that he needed to draw even with Kyle Busch, and he has the tiebreaker over Kyle Busch in that regard, because if there's a tie, the tiebreaker is whoever has the best finish in that round, and it was Austin Hendrick with the 12th place finish at Kansas. Yeah, that's not fucking suspicious at all. Of course, this isn't the first fucking time that Team Penske has done this Team Wonders bullshit. So, yeah, that kind of fucking pissed me off. Keselowski got the lead on lap 389. That was our second and final pure lead change of the day. And then he loses a right front tire from the lead. They do not throw the caution. And Christopher Bell loses a right rear tire from the lead. And they actually do throw the caution. Again, when are people going to start holding Goodyear accountable for their piece of shit tires? Fuck Goodyear. And then, as if that wasn't fucking enough, in the pits, Harvick's team has a left front wheel come off because it wasn't tight. Hamlin's left, they thought that Hamlin's left rear was going to come off because they thought they had missed the lug. But it turned out it was the spare that was laying on the ground, so they actually called him back just to be safe. But Harvick's left front basically came off because it wasn't tight, so that pretty much fucked him over. In fact, Ryan Blaney also had a wheel come off at one point, and it actually bounced down pit road. So that's probably going to be a 4-week suspension for crew chief, tire changer, and jackman. When they really couldn't afford it in the middle of a playoff run. But final restart, Buescher only took 2 tires, and it turned out to be the correct move. Elliott got up to second, was not able to catch Buescher. Bell was still fifth despite the flat tire a few laps ago, so he caught a break. We had a battle for fourth between Larson and Bell. Larson got loose and smacked the wall in turn 1. Elliott tried to catch Buescher for the race lead, but he was unable to, and Chris Buescher scores the upset win at Bristol, breaking a 222 race winless streak dating all the way back to his Pocono win in 2017 when he won due to fog at Pocono. But yeah, what an absolute fucking mess of a race. An absolute fucking mess of a race. Without a doubt, one of the most disappointing races of all time because of the hype surrounding this race, and it turned out to be a giant pile of fucking shit. Alright, so stats and awards. Let's get this over with. Total laps, 500 laps. It was 125, 125, and 250. Overall late changes, there were 12 overall late changes, less than half what we saw last year, and certainly a hell of a lot less pure late changes too. There were only 2 this year. Could not pass for shit. 9 total caution flags, and the green flag passes are unavailable because the information's not available. I don't know what the fuck's that about. Lap leader award goes to Chris Buescher, who led 169 of the race's 500 laps. Star of the race will go to Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. Combined, the 17 and the 6 led more than half the race. They were absolutely phenomenal, and honestly, Keselowski probably should have been the one in victory lane instead of Buescher. But of course, Brad had that flat tire. What a race of emotions that must have been, because Keselowski looked like he was going to get the win in the 6 car, and then his teammate Chris Buescher ends up winning the race instead. So it was still a great night for RFK Racing as a whole, and they led more than half the race, so they are the star of the race. Reject of the race should be pretty obvious. The next gen car. That's a piece of fucking garbage. I'm starting to think that Kevin Harvick was right all along. Shitty ass parts, a shit ass car. It's shit racing on the short tracks. Shit needs to fucking change for next year. This is embarrassing. Okay, it may have been good on the intermediates at the beginning of the year, but I mean, the second half of this season has really exposed how fucking stupid this car is. So that's all I gotta say about that. Race results and point standings. Chris Buescher with the win. He led 169 laps. Chase Elliott second. William Byron, very quiet third place run. Christopher Bell led 143 laps. There were actually 3 guys that led over 100 laps in this race. That was Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell, and Brad Keselowski. Kyle Larson led 34 laps in this race, ended up 5th. Ross Chastain, very quiet run, ends up 6th. Probably glad for that, to not be involved in any bullshit this week. Then you have A.J. Allmendinger in 7th in the 16 car, so a good run for Allmendinger. Cole Custer, guy who's been out to lunch this entire fucking season and ends up with a top 10 run. I mean, he pretty much stayed out of trouble all race long, so there you go. Denny Hamlin comes home 9th, and Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 10, but he has been eliminated from the playoff, because if we look at the point standings after Bristol, Christopher Bell had advanced on points. Then you have William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Cindric as the final driver to get in. 2 points over Tyler Reddick and Kyle Busch. And then Austin Dillon and Kevin Harvick are the bottom 2. So Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick have been eliminated from the playoffs. So, with that in mind, there's a moth flying around in here. Here are what the standings are going to look like entering Texas with the re-racking of the playoff points, because you add in all the playoff points that have been earned in the first round. This is how they re-rack. Chase Elliott will regain his number 1 spot. He has 40. Joey Logano will be re-racked in 2nd with 25. Ross Chastain is 3rd with 20. Then you have Kyle Larson in 4th with 19. William Byron in 5th with 15. Denny Hamlin in 6th with 13, as well as Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney. And then the 4 guys that are below the cut line at this point, Chase Briscoe is 9th with 9. Alex Bowman is 10th with 7. Daniel Suarez is 11th with 7. And then Austin Cindric at the bottom with just 6 points. So that's how it looks as they enter the round of 12. But what about the F1 style points? Well, certainly taking a turn in a few of these series. Truck series, Zane Smith has reclaimed the points lead from John Hunter Nemechek by the start from the rear of the field. Zane Smith did as well, but Zane Smith did a hell of a lot better at getting up to the front than John Hunter Nemechek did. Nemechek only scored 1 point, while Zane Smith scored 18, so he reclaims the point lead. Chandler Smith won the first 2 stages, but then got shafted on pit strategy and ended up 9th. Ty Majeski scored his first career Truck Series win, so good for him. Ben Rhodes has pretty much been out to lunch for most of the year. He was good in the first part of the season, but since then it's just been non-existent. But the top 5 are the only ones still eligible to mathematically win the F1 style points championship. There's only 3 races remaining in the Truck Series. Ty Majeski, with his win, has locked himself at the championship 4 for the trucks. So there's that. But the other guys that are still in contention to make it into the championship 4, Christian Eckes, Stuart Friesen, and Grant Enfinger, are on the bottom half of the top 10. Xfinity Points. Noah Gragson has really turned it up to 11 recently with 3 consecutive victories. And he is now the point leader in the F1 style standings by 38 points, the largest lead we have seen in quite some time in the Xfinity Series. And that's despite the fact that he has a points penalty on top of that. So without that points penalty, he'd have an even bigger margin over Justin Allgaier, who's currently running second. And you have Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger. Those are the only drivers over 400 points at the moment. And you have Josh Berry, Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, and Sam Mayer. Those are the only drivers that are still mathematically eligible in the Xfinity F1 standings because of just how crazy the top 4 have been this year. You know, there's still like 7 races left in the Xfinity Series season, and there's only 8 drivers remaining that have a mathematical eligibility. But you see Jeremy Clements, he won his appeal to reinstate his Daytona win. I don't know if I covered that last week, but yeah, he actually won his appeal and gets his Daytona win back. So, well, he still kept the Daytona win, but now it's officially counting towards his playoff eligibility. So he will be officially in the playoffs as well as Ryan Sieg. And then the top 10 in F1 points, they're all in the playoff as well. Cup Series points with 7 races remaining in the season. Chase Elliott continues to lead the way, gains a little bit more points on Ross Chastain. Chase Elliott's point lead is now 68, so it's looking pretty good that he's going to win the F1 style championship. Kyle Larson third. Christopher Bell has catapulted himself up to 4th. He's really come on strong here in the second half of the season. Then you have Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr. All the way down to 19th, which is still mathematically eligible to win the championship. And Chris Buescher, with his win, jumps up into the top 20 and is the last driver over 100 points. As for my final rating for the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol, God, one of the most disappointing races of the entire season. Too many fucking mechanical failures, too many caution flags. You couldn't pass for shit this entire race. I mean, it was a fucking shit show. On top of the fact that this was one of the most highly anticipated races for me of the entire year, and it ends in a massive fucking ball of disappointment. My final rating, the highest I can give it is a 3. No, not a 2, a 3. Because I will accept the fact that Chris Buescher winning is a big deal. I mean, good for him and RFK Racing. And there were a few decent moments during the race, but let's be honest here. This race was nowhere near as good as the past 5 or 6 editions of this race has been. This was a horrible fucking disappointment. And it further solidifies the fact that I'm just fucking done with this season. I'm ready for it to be done and over with, because I have no hope for the rest of the season being any good. I mean, the racing the past couple months has been fucking mid as shit, with the exception of Watkins Glen. And I was hoping that Bristol would break us out of this funk, and it ended up being just the same as the other fucking bullshit, stupid ass fucking races of this playoff run. So there's that. And next week, we've got Texas Motor Speedway next week. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Fuck off with that shit. I am done with this season. I am ready for it to be done and over with. I'm ready for a break from doing this shit, because the racing has just not been there as of late. It just hasn't. I've just not been enjoying this season. The second half of this season has just not been enjoyable. Not as much as it should be anyways. But, you know, that's just my opinion. You know, I have certain standards, you know, for racing, and it's just not being met. Past couple months it just hasn't been met. So yeah, I'm a little tougher in that regard, but you're supposed to be. I mean, can't give NASCAR a pass just because. But that's gonna do it for this review. I apologize for being so negative. I know I don't. This is the last race I want it to be negative about, but I gotta call it like I see it. If a race is not good, if I feel like a race is not good, then I'm gonna say so. No, with me, when it comes to my reviews, there's no frills and there's no bullshit. You know, I call it like I see it. Even if it's what has been one of the best races of the past half decade. If it sucks, it sucks. That's just how it goes. And I don't expect Texas to be any better next week. So, it is what it is. But, thank you very much for watching tonight's review. And we got Texas next week. God help us. But that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. And until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out. See you later. Thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, you jackweeds.